Hi there and welcome to a new episode of Behind the Lens, and I'm Paul, and in today's episode all the footage including this intro is shot on the DJI Pocket 2 in 4K, in this case 30p. This is the indoor section. Outdoor section here is in 4K 60p. The reasons why we're going outdoors is to test a lens I bought a couple of months ago for my Sony A7 III, which is the 70 to 350, 4.5 to 6 point, what is it? 6.3 max apertures on the Sony A7III. So this lens, just to show you here, it comes with image stabilization. You can control manual focus, automatic focus, and the little button here. It extends all the way up to 350. And so in today's episode, which is also filmed on DJI Pocket 2, we're also going to test this outdoors, and I'll do some of the voiceovers or the original audio. Some quite impressive results, also some pictures you'll see showing up. And hopefully after this, if you consider buying this, this retails about roughly between 800 and 900 euros new. It's not that heavy. It's got a very smooth ring here, and the manual focus ring is smooth as well. It's a very good build, fits into your hand. So it's really, I really considered this over the 70 to, what is it, the 70 to 300 Sony alternative, for the very simple reason that I wanted that 15 millimeters extra. So now let's go into the photo, it's not the photo. So let's now go over to the segment outside, where I'm in a park, about middle of the day. No filters on the, both on the camera. The only filter you see here is a very simple ND filter. This is, it's not even a ND filter, it's a UV filter, sorry. And on the DJI Osmo Pocket, the only thing I filmed it in outside in 60 frames per second is with the wide angle lens on it. And that's it. So any questions, let me know. Hit that subscribe button if you want to follow me on my journey in photography and YouTube. But enough talking, let's go outside now. So we're in the little park now, where a couple of weeks ago I did a test for the Sigma 56 for Sony A7 III. Now I'm here with the same A7 III, and I'm going to test the 70 to 350 lens. It's the middle of the day again, similar lighting conditions. I'm just going to get it from my photography bag. So what we really have here is the Sony and the 70 350. I bought this lens, I've now tested it for 2 months, and it's quite an interesting lens, I have to state. So we're going to test this now full scope for the coming minutes. If you look at the scenery here, you just get a bit of an overview. So, and as you can see, I have the phone here, so I can pretty much see if I'm in frame. Let's see if it follows me, not so much. Now, one of the first things we're going to do with this camera, and this is one of the cool things as well, I guess, is these little flowers. Now, I'm going to extend these here at 70 millimeters. I'm now at an f13, but let's put that down to the max aperture. So that's at 4.5 at 70 millimeters. And the ISO I'll bunk down from 320 to 100, and we're going to shoot at a, well, let's see, at a 1/25th, 1/60th. We're going to keep the same thing. We're just going to check out. I have the not spot metering on, I have zone, so we can see what the sharpness is. We're just going to focus it, and now I'm going to just extend it here with the barrel to 100. As you can see, the distance here is good. Now we are going to extend it. So on 100th, it is an f5 that it automatically takes. At 135, you get an f5.6. And now we're going to do it at 200. It's still an f, and now I have to stand back a bit. Now it's still an f5.6. Now we're going to go all the way over to 350. Now I have to stand a bit back as well. And we see it at f6.3. Yeah, and we're all shooting this just from the hip with an ISO 100 and 160th. Let's take one more. So these are the first results. You see them coming up here. Now, if we really want to get the sharpness, so let's go now to f70 and bump this up to an f10, because I normally shoot on f10 on this camera. And now we're going to go at a 1/50th of a second with an ISO of 100. And we're just going to keep it that way. Now we're going to go to 100 millimeters, same thing. 135 on f10, 1/50th. 1/200th f10, and then the maximum 350. Now let's go in the middle. Let's do one at 300. So we have all of this right now, which is pretty cool. As you can see over there, there's a fantastic tree. It really is nice autumn colors. The sun is standing from that way. So let's now just take a few sample shots on how that will look at 70 millimeters. Again, we have the f10, and now we have to ISO 100, f10. Now, as you can see here, there's quite a few interesting flowers here. Yeah, these ones have just blossomed and are slowly dying. You see here the new ones coming up, and this one is about to blossom. So this makes a pretty good picture. The sun, as you can see, is right up there. Yeah, so we'll do the same exercise again. But now I really want to have that beautiful, beautiful flower there. I'm still on f10 on 100. Or on 70. Now I'm extending to 100, and I probably have to put this on an f9 just to allow a bit more light. Now let's see if I can get it here on 350 on the same f8, if it actually is sharp. You see, and I have to move back now. I have to move a lot back, I'm going out of frame. And this is at 300, now we go to 350 on an f8. Now let's extend this to f10. Oh. On the f10 to see what the sharpness is. Now I'm going from 1/80th, still with an ISO 100, to 1/50th of a second. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm now at 300. I see some other awesome plants as well. And exposure compensation. And if you look over there, I don't know if you can see it, but now I have to check my phone again, and we'll just bump the ISO up to 125. Yeah, this is pretty awesome actually, I have to admit. This lens, it doesn't disappoint in many ways. So I hope you enjoyed that. So the verdict on this lens is, when I bought this, I had it in mind for, of course, obviously outdoor photography, wildlife photography, so birds, squirrels, all this kind of stuff. But also sports, events photography, and even a bit of street photography. The last three I haven't been able to really test with this lens due to Corona and all kind of restrictions. What I can test is that this, attest to is that this lens has actually really surprised me, and I'm starting to really like this lens. Yeah, it is maybe not the most obvious choice for macro photography and small little insect and bugs you can forget. But for plants, trees, flowers, nice compositions, I think that you can really use this lens. I would say that one of the downsides is that sometimes it isn't the fastest one when it comes to autofocus, to focus in general. But you know, that's something that you have to work with. I think for the price you're getting it, yeah, it's brother, the 200mm or the 400mm nowadays, or Sony native lens. Yeah, I mean that's about 2,000 euros. This is what you get for a half or even less of the price. I would definitely recommend those for you who are like me, walking around in forests, want to do a bit of photography, simply street photography. A bit of portrait photography you can do with this lens as well, although I would highly recommend then the 56 Sigma lens. You can see the link in the description below, or the 85 1.8 Sony native lens. Those are much sharper. I think in terms of sharpness, up until 300 you're actually remarkably well. Once you go to the 350, you do see at times, specifically when you know you take a picture of a tree and some bird in it, and later in post you start enlarging it, after let's say 150%, you definitely see that there is some, yeah, it's just not as sharp as you would hope to. However, if you're on shorter distances from 5 to 10 meters, this lens really, it works perfectly. I have no complaints about it. I think it's a very good lens for the money that you're actually paying. And you know, also with the A7 III, or if you have a 6500 or a 6400 for Sony APS-C, I would definitely recommend this lens if you're really into let's say a more experienced nature photographer. I guess that you would go for maybe a more of an tack sharper, maybe a stop or two more available, so you go for an f4. You can do that, but you'll be paying 2.5 times the price. If you're like me, a simple amateur, this will do. So the verdict is, if you're like me, an enthusiast, or you're somebody who wants to have, let's say, a longer focal length, this is a very good lens. This is ideal for outdoors during daylight, during low light situations. So in clubs, you're gonna have to need a flash or some other light to actually compensate it. Then there's other alternatives out there, but why would you need 300mm focal length in a club or something, or 15 square meters? I don't know. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, also if you see here how the native colors are of the Osmo Pocket, yeah, that's quite interesting as well. I prefer my Sony A6400 for the studio vlog, but outdoors I really enjoy this. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. Ask your questions, leave the comments. If you like this video, please like it. If you don't like it, then give me some positive or negative feedback, that's fine. I hope to see you next week. Not sure if I can produce the episode, very busy with other stuff at the moment, but if not, stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you.